Hey everyone, Nick here again, back to talk about The Walking Dead. This is my review of episode 13 of season 8. And honestly, this episode was even better than the last one. I really liked last week's episode, but this one was really top-notch. I'll start with the beginning of the episode, the really intense opening battle sequence. That was awesome. It was intense, it was suspenseful. Hasn't been a lot of suspense on this show in quite a while. And it was awesome. Some of the highlights of it for me were Daryl riding up on his motorcycle with the machine gun mounted on it. It looked like something out of World War II. It was really cool. And then Maggie, her battle plan was solid the whole time. They didn't lose as many people as they could have lost, you know. Of course, Rick riding up like the awesome being that he is. That was pretty great too. Seeing Rick and Maggie fighting side by side with each other was really at the end of the battle, but still, that was just a cool shot. It was nice to see them together like that. I loved it. I loved everything about that. This was one of the most intense moments of the season, that whole battle. The action didn't even end there because, of course, Saviors have covered all their knives and arrows and what have you in walker blood. So those who got wounded in the first part of the episode turn into walkers in the second part. So, yeah, that was also pretty action-packed, and it was also really emotional for me. I mean, seeing Carol have to put down Tobin, I actually thought that was pretty sad. You know, like, yeah, Tobin's like the longest living red shirt in television history, but, you know, he seemed like a nice guy. I think I was one of the few people who actually kind of shipped him and Carol together. Hashtag cabin. But yeah, you know, I didn't have any problem with them being together. I mean, Carol deserved somebody. Of course, now she's moved on to Ezekiel. But, you know, it was nice to see them talk again. It was also nice to just see Tobin get some real screen time before he left. And I must say, him as a walker was actually pretty intimidating, because he's a pretty tall guy. Like, we only ever really see him doing physical stuff like construction and whatnot, usually. So, yeah, Walker Tobin was pretty cool. Someone who I really thought got some strong development in this episode was Sadiq, because it's obvious that he really is trying to honor Carl as best he can. Because when Carl met him, he was just a loner. He was all by himself in the woods. He was just trying to do his own thing. But Carl came to help him and got killed as a result. And, you know, Sadiq is like, yeah, I owe it to this kid to actually try and help people. Because he is a doctor. And he has the potential to seriously help people, and he did. So, yeah. Obviously, Rick is still not 100% cool with him yet, but they'll get there. Something else I really liked about this episode was it was believably chaotic. Like, in the past, whenever everything inevitably goes wrong, because it always does on this show, it has had a tendency this season to feel a little forced, but it felt really natural in this episode because of the various extreme circumstances. Like, in particular, Henry, the new kid who killed Gavin in the mid-season premiere. Like, yeah, this kid is a liability, and he might be dead now, but, you know, I see where he's coming from. He's blindingly angry about his brother's death, and he is still just a kid, so he doesn't really know how to process it well. And let's face it, very few of the adults have been able to process losing people well either. So yeah, even though it was kind of frustrating to see, it made sense. And also, something I said in my reaction video that I thought was kind of confusing was when everyone was having their sleepover in the the hilltop mansion and the door was wide open, I was like, why is the door wide open? But after thinking about it, I realized it'd probably be exceptionally hot in there. And, you know, in the apocalypse there isn't a lot of running water, so the smell probably is not great. So, I get it. Although a screen door would have been perfect in this situation. But yeah, my point is that everything that went wrong made sense. Like, it was believable that it went wrong. So, I appreciate that. As far as Morgan starting to lose his mind again goes, I mean, I thought it was intriguing to watch. I thought it was, you know, it wasn't boring per se, but it did feel kinda awkwardly placed in the episode and maybe even a little distracting. Like, I feel like it would have been better if they just didn't deal with it at all, or maybe once towards the end. But yeah, I don't know. It wasn't bad, it just felt out of place, you know. It's the same problem I had with the Kingdom scenes in the mid-season premiere. Like, none of it is inherently bad, but it should be focused elsewhere right now. So yeah. That was really my only major issue with the episode, and it's not even a major issue. Overall, I'm going to give this episode a 9 out of 10. This was the most faithful episode to the comics since episode 4, which is where Shiva died. And because of that, it actually made it feel more like the show. Like, it has to at least feel a little like the comics, because that's been the whole point of the show this whole time. It's supposed to be a little like the comics. Not exactly like them, but, you know, stuff does have to be changed up. Although I feel like they've been changing the wrong things this season, more often than not. But this episode, it very faithfully adapted a part of the comics that I was really looking forward to seeing. I was really excited for the whole infected weapons battle scene, and it didn't disappoint. So, this was a good episode. That'll do it for this video. See you next time.